my question is because, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I didn't even know about the concept of a Taiwanese Aboriginal. I
Right.
knew about Australian, Aborigines, and so I knew that of the indigenous people of Australia. Obviously, as an American, I know about Native Americans and all those indigenous peoples from North and South America. That's a very big part of our history. Like every third year, we basically have like your local state history in class in school. And we spend a lot of that time learning about the local native tribes and different stuff like that. But I never knew that this whole thing of like when the Han Chinese start migrating over from China and that there were all these indigenous people who lived here in Taiwan, and there's all this kind of conflict back and forth. And then there's stuff that happens when the Japanese come and the Dutch come. So
Yes.
if you can take somebody like, me, let's say 2 weeks ago before I come to airplane mode and somebody tells me, what a Taiwanese Aboriginal is, can you explain to people, what is a Taiwanese Aboriginal person and what's kind of the story there and the background on what people need to know?
I think that one is Aboriginal, like my grandma. My grandma, they basically got by rule from the Japanese. So Japanese took their land and then teach them how to speak Japanese. So my grandma can speak a lot of Japanese. Also, we had our own language. I mean, my tribe is like Taiwan. Atayan. Like the government called Atayan, but we call Taiwan. So they have like 10 to 12 different tribes in Taiwan, like Amis or Beinanzu, Saixia. So those like tribes, they all have their own language, and then they all have their own culture clothes, like standard official clothes.
Oh,
It's
wow.
really
Everyone
cool.
has their own. Wow.
Yeah, everyone have their own, and then like a Taiwanzu in some Taiwanese island, like Green Island or Lanyu. Yeah, they have their own culture, their own language, and then like for example, Atayan and the Amis, we are like 女系社会. How do I call that? Like we are more like a woman is more powerful than guy.
Matriarchal society.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's our culture. Yeah. And then different language and then clothes and then some cultures and then we have it. Like Taiwan, we also have the tattooed on the face. If you grow up in the 18 years old, like you're adult, so the guys have to tattoo on your forehead and then your 下巴, how can I say it?
Your chin.
Yeah, your chin. And then the girls have to tattoo on the face. Yes.
So, okay. So yeah, I think that there's 12 official tribes recognized by the Taiwanese government. And you're saying everyone has their own language and they all have their own unique style of clothing. And so how is it, because I mean, you're pretty young. So was it difficult for you at all being half Aboriginal? Like, did you face any, discrimination or people tease you or anything like that when you were growing up with half of that as your background?
Not really. Like we live in Nan'ao, like our village. We have like 7 villages. So basically, we live just with all of the Aboriginal. We don't really feel something like racist or yeah. When I grow up, I go to the like Taiwanese school. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Aboriginal in our village, they will separate the school like Aboriginal with Taiwanese. If you are Taiwanese, you will not go into the Aboriginal elementary school to study with us. I don't know why. We'll separate. Yes.
It's still like that. They still separate them in the different schools.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the land is separate too. Like in the Nan'ao, and then the Aboriginal is close to the mountain. They live close to the mountain. And then the Taiwanese live close to the sea. So it's kind of very clearly they have their own school. We have our school.
Wow,
like
interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
So in the stuff that I read, it was basically saying that over the past 100 years, it had been pretty difficult for the Aboriginal people because basically it became like a bit of an economic divide where all of a sudden like the Han Chinese people in Taiwan, they end up kind of becoming more wealthy, and then a lot of illegal immigration started happening where people would come in and they would be willing to work for very cheaper than the Aboriginal people.
Oh.
And then the Aboriginal people would get upset and say, well, I'm not going to work for, pennies just because like this other person is illegally here. And so it kind of created like all of these problems, and it has been difficult for the government to kind of, manage it. But I guess from what I've heard from other people is, like you said, part of it is that there's so much separation. So if you don't want to interact, you don't really have to. But I guess I was just hoping that for younger generations, it's not as big of a deal and not as problematic. And hopefully, everybody just gets along better now.
Yeah, I think they don't have like really, they don't have enough resource can learn like other skills for like they like our elementary school. They don't teach us them like music. Yes, but we know how to sing and naturally how to sing. But like some like a singing or like a teacher English, something like that, we don't have like a well resource. Yeah, so many like people in Nan'ao, like our village. So it's just left like few like old man, like grandmother, and then all the young people go out, like going to Taipei or in the South Taiwan, go find a job. Yeah, so look like our like Aboriginal is just like really trying so hard to live. Yeah, like even like my cousin, they still stay in the Nan'ao. They just doing something in the factory. Yeah, just like that. But they are really like they don't ask like too much. If they think they can live in their life, they will be happy. They're really chill. Yes.
Yeah, that's still the island kind of, either island or mountain here. You have to be one or the other. So I think both are chill vibes, mountain people and island people.
Yeah.